Hey, happy Friday, everyone! So, I've got some notes for today because I'm going to offer you guys a loaded subject. I'm going to try to make it short, sweet, and fun because we are about to ninja karate chop the house and try to purge before the fall. How many of you guys tend to do the same? It's change of season, it's just before the holidays, and you think to yourself, what can I get rid of? So, we're going to do a similar thing. I want to actually go ahead and help you karate chop, ninja kick some of these mindset issues that you might be facing right now. So, happy Friday. I'm going to pose a few questions, right? What do you do when there's fear in your business or overthinking? And your strategy is maybe to wonder how you're going to make it happen, how you're going to move the needle forward, what you're going to do. Maybe you're somebody like I can be or have a predisposition to be, which is overthinking, feeling stressed out, maybe even wanting to quit. So I'm going to give you some concrete tips. All right. I'm going to tell you what's worked for me as a mom of 7 kids who has been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. This may resonate with you, right? Because here's what I read today by Ray Higdon. Overthinking is costing you money, right? So stop overthinking. Drop a yo in the comments if that was you. What if you could literally live with full clarity about why you're doing the things that you do, how to move the needle forward, and boldly take some steps instead of sabotaging what you have in front of you? I'm Chrissy Weaver. I'm leader of the Mental Wellness Company, and I help people to overcome hurdles in their lives, in their business, by offering very strategic steps with logic, very clear, concrete steps to be able to make some tangible, emotional, physical changes in their lives. And today I'm going to offer you some logic, which is going to be super helpful if you right now are stuck in overthinking mode or you're having some anxiety about your goals. But first, I have a secret to share with you. I can be a total wimp. It's true. And I know you're probably thinking, but Chrissy, you're so optimistic. You always seem to have answers. You're a strong person. If you know any of my story, you would think to yourself, like, you have overcome so much in life, right? I'm a big blended family, so that means I've been divorced. I have 7 children. We homeschool. Hurdles in life are inevitable. I just want to make sure, yeah, connection looks good. So, while that's all true, and I do consider myself an optimistic person, I do consider myself a strong person. The reality is, there are times in our lives when even the strongest of us need to take a step back, let the brain do its thing, and just be in survival mode. Survival mode are those moments when we desperately try to keep our heads above the water, and maybe you can't think clearly because you have so many pressures in life, or maybe you're just super stressed out and overwhelmed because you're just having a bad day. And so there are some things that we all do especially if you've come from trauma, when you're trying to hit your goals, right? And for some of us, the first instinct is to literally freeze. We want nothing more than for everything in our lives to just stop moving. We want to be able to catch a breath. We want to be able to just feel that soothing experience of calm. And so when things are swirling all around you and it's really stressful, it can be really difficult to do exactly what you need to do in order to change your current circumstance, and that is to take action. And you guys, that have been following me know one of my favorite sayings is nothing changes if nothing changes. And it's very true. So if you get yourself caught up in this freeze mode and you're freezing, and I don't mean like you're freezing like you're cold, because this is the time of year when I start to literally wear slippers and a bathrobe all day. It is freezing. I'm talking about your mindset. You freeze. Don't beat yourself up. Instead, you're going to want to make a plan. But first, it's good to know yourself. So just maybe like a half hour ago, I was doing some research on fight or flight so I could deliver this message to you. And I actually discovered that there are 5 Fs. It's not just fight or flight, but there's multiple other Fs. And, I was thinking, like, would this be helpful to the listener? And so the question I have for you is, how could understanding your own trauma response be beneficial to your life and or your business? So I'm going to quickly run these things over with you. Here's the list of 5 things. I'm even going to give you some identifiers. Excuse me, identifiers. See, I'm cold and I start to lose my voice. So here's your response. Like if you're going through a tough time and your response is fight, then some common thoughts and feelings might be, it's all your fault. And you might feel the emotions anger or rage. That's how you know if you're a fight response person. And so what you might typically do is you might talk back to people. You might storm off, slam doors. You might be aggressive, and you might get defiant and start putting blame on other people. That's how you know if you are a fight response person. And you might have a couple of these. Flight, right? This is, so you've heard of fight, and then there's flight. I've got to get out of here. You might be thinking, like, get me out of this store. You might feel anxious. You might feel overwhelmed. And so some things that you might do is to like suddenly leave the room. You might space out. You might appear to not even be paying attention. You might intentionally or completely unintentionally be distracted and miss what you're supposed to do. That's how you know if you're a flight person. Who here so far knows that you're definitely a fight person or a flight person? And I just want you to know it's okay. No matter what you are, there's a reason why you act this way. So then there's 3 more. There's freeze. If you have the freeze thought, you're thinking things like, I can't do this. You're panicked. You're overwhelmed. You might literally feel disassociated and numb yourself out. And people who get into freeze mode, when you have a goal or you have something that you need to do, you might give up really quickly. You might literally fold, right? Again, you might space out. You might not really be paying attention. And you might have emotions like frustration and overwhelm. So then there's the flop. I was like, what? Flop? So people with the flop, they think things like, it's all my fault, or it's just not worth it. And you can feel very depressed, hopeless, or apathetic, right? And so you might have behavior traits like being completely disengaged, showing very little emotion, flat face, right? Or again, you might completely miss events. You might miss out. And then there is the friend response, right? Another trauma response is friend. And that's when you become a little bit more helpless or powerless. And you might say things like, please help me. I can't do this. I need your help. Somebody help me. How do I do this? And it's very powerless, right? And so you might have a tendency of not taking responsibility for yourself or your actions, heavily relying on other people, like your friends or adults that you trust. to help you solve these problems. So how would knowing which one of those 5 areas that you tend to behave be helpful in achieving your goals or climbing your obstacles in order to move forward in your business or life, right? What do you think? So here's the thing. As you're figuring that out, then you can kind of back pocket it and just don't let it overrule you, but allow it to be an area where you can give yourself compassion. Because when you were a kid, or at some point in your life, difficult things took place, right? And none of us are immune to this. So difficult things took place and you had to survive. So you created these ways of surviving in order to protect yourself and stay in a place of safety. So my response is I oftentimes want to freeze, right? And I can tell because I'll need to hit a goal and I'll lose creativity. I will lose my concentration. My organization skills go away. And that freeze technique, I know, came from coming from a very controlled, you never know when somebody's going to be happy or mad. Never know if somebody's there for you, right? And so when you freeze, it's an adaptation process that I learned in order to stay safe and create that consistency in my life. So that can be a big problem when you need to get out of that comfort zone and move forward. So there's 2 ways that you can sabotage yourself when it comes to goal setting. And number 1, and if you freeze or flop, this is going to be something you need to work on. But number 1 is literally not putting thought into it. You just kind of wrap yourself up in a warm blanket, you hide, you do something comforting like scroll Facebook, scroll TikTok, watch TV, and you just do what feels comfortable. Not putting enough thought into, if you think about it, can be a problem because number 1, you stay stuck, and number 2, you miss out on that opportunity to either learn or discover ways to change, ways to get out of it. So if you're completely broke and you cover yourself up in a blanket, you might never have your eyes open to the ways that you can create an income, or you'll be completely shut off to it, right? So that's one problem. And number 2 is what I hear a lot. You overthink. You get into analysis paralysis. You overthink to the point that you forget what's special and important about you, or you cloud up your vision. And so instead of moving into activity, you're stuck and you're not going anywhere. And so here's what I got to ask. My feet are falling asleep. I actually sit on my legs to do these lives. So here's what I got to say. Trust yourself. Get into messy action. Be okay with not being perfect. Give yourself permission to succeed, but also give yourself permission to fail. Because when you have failure, it's usually just a lesson that you're learning along the way. Even if that perceived failure feels like an eternity, it's really just an area of your life that is being highlighted so that you can bookmark that and chew on it, right? Chew on it so that eventually you can swallow that and move forward. Does that make sense? So wherever you are right now, what I want you to do is, first of all, give yourself permission that it's okay however you're responding, but take a deep breath and make a plan. Make a plan that makes sense. Ask your mentor. Hopefully you have somebody that you trust in, and trust the process. When you can trust the process, then it takes away some of the fear that you have, right? It's kind of like if you're the friend person and you lean in on, please help me, please help me. What is it that you're achieving from that, right? It's a trusted response. You feel safe. So make a plan that you can trust so that you can lean into that plan just like you would a friend, right? And as you're trusting the process and you're discovering where you fight, flight, freeze, flop, or seek a friend, that's where you're going to be able to make some real changes, tangible changes, and move the needle forward. Do you see why this is important? So, Chrissy Weaver checking out. I got to go do some major decluttering right before the fall. But if this is the type of stuff that you're looking for and you thrive on mindset awareness, coaching, if you would love to be able to generate an income for yourself and be around mental wellness advocates like me who want you to feel better and hit your goals, I want you to drop clarity in the comments below or send me a message so that we can show you how people are joining me in the mental wellness movement. And with 5 sales, I'm going to teach you how to make $500. So if one area that you're stuck is the cost of fuel, the cost of food, and the cost of everything going up, then I want to teach you how you can increase your income as well. God bless you. Have an amazing day, and let me know what you're up to today. I love to see who's tuning in and what you're up to. God bless. Take care.